Hello. Hey everyone. I'm hoping you can hear me. Looks like I am live. Gonna just wait a moment and get started. Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. It was 75 here in the Chicagoland area yesterday, and I woke up and it was snowing and the ground was covered. So there's that. I'm just thinking about tomorrow and what it may become. And I thought, let's see if we can collaborate with other trade compliance professionals and try to figure this stuff out. I cannot see the chat for some reason. So if there's two people here, if somebody could post something in the chat and just confirm they can hear me, that would be fantastic. Thanks, Kyle. I really appreciate it. I really, really do. So I'm going to just go ahead and get started. Today, I was trying to figure out what am I doing here? I kind of went into it a little bit and just wrote some notes here because I thought at first, let me define what this is not. So this is not legal advice. And this is not affiliated with my employer. And it is not politically motivated or persuasive. So I just wanted to get that out first. That's what it's not. I'm probably going to add to the list at some point if there is more than one of these. So what is this? I think, place to discuss regulatory changes, networking, using, collaborative measures to figure this all out. And it is a Sunday evening support group. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So what I decided to do is just go over, I'm going to share my screen, just go over some of the Section 232 timeline, and then we can then move on to any questions and get into the weeds of it. So I'm going to share my screen. Kyle, that's funny. I mean, I technically could classify goods for you right now, but I don't have a power of attorney, so I just wouldn't want to do that. All right, so let me try to share my screen. It doesn't look like that worked very well. Let me try again. I think I'm sharing my screen, but it doesn't look like I am. Let me try a new share. I'm wondering if I have to be in Chrome. I think I'm sharing. Oh, here we go. Can you see my screen? Kyle, would you please let me know if you see the Federal Register? I'm gonna have to like go back to my old. Mm. Okay, you were able to see that? Okay, great. I'm gonna retry it again. Thank you so much for your patience. Okay, do it again. Okay, I'm hoping you're not seeing a bunch of screens inside of screens. Okay, so on February 10th, I think a little bit before, well, actually, let's see, February 10th, this was posted. Well, actually, it was posted on February 18th, but on February 10th, there was a proclamation that was issued. It's pretty lengthy. So there was one for steel and there was one for aluminum. And essentially, it was, well, for aluminum, it was moving the Section 232 to 25% from 10%. And it was also removing certain duty, I want to say exemptions. I might be using the wrong terminology there, but there was many countries that had a quota that were allowed to still bring in aluminum products and steel products, as long as there was quantity available within the quota. And there were some countries that didn't have a quota, but they were at, for aluminum, they were at 10%. So let's scroll down here. That was pretty much in a nutshell. I mean, there's a lot more to talk about it, but what this meant for the trade is obviously all countries were going to be subject to Section 232 tariffs, and there was like no one's safe here. I guess that's a good word of saying this. And there is more to this, but it's going to be, well, it did go into effect March 12th. And if I scroll down, I'm sorry if I'm making other people dizzy here. I'm just trying to get to the list here. So this is the aluminum Annex 1. And there's additional products that are added to this list. So the original list mainly had, so this is the HTS number. So chapter 76, that's where aluminum products are mainly in. And like 8302 is, I'm pretty sure, brackets. So added like aluminum brackets to this. Also items in 84, chapter 84, which is machinery. 85, same concept, machinery, like components. Automotive, valves, other machine parts, furniture. I think this is sports equipment, if I'm got this correct. I'm going off of memory. Certain brushes. So there is, in this Annex 1, here it does state, and this was very important. So it took me like almost a day to figure this out. Because I was trying to figure out if aluminum derivatives right? So this is I'm sorry if I didn't say this, Annex 1 is aluminum derivative products. So I was trying to figure out, is this going into effect on March 12th with other aluminum products, right? And here says effective date of this proclamation in accordance with clause 9, right? So if we go up to clause 9, the modifications made by this proclamation with respect to derivative aluminum articles identified in the annex that are not in Chapter 76 of the HTS US shall be effected upon public notification by the Secretary of Commerce that adequate systems are in place to fully efficiently, let's see, I think this is the wrong section, but of a public notification, right? That's important. Like I said, so this is really the Secretary of Commerce has to certify that there is adequate systems in place. So by I want to say around 1 o'clock on March 11th, I didn't see anything certified by the Secretary of Commerce. And I'll go a little bit into that shortly. Still very similar concept as far as March 12th being the effective date. This includes, I know I'm making you guys do, let me just go over here. Right, it has an annex as well. So anything outside of Chapter 73 pertaining to steel derivatives, and this list is pretty big, right, is, mainly Chapter 84 and 85 and 94. So these derivatives essentially need to be broken out. And I'll go, like I said, go into this a little bit further. All right, so here we go. Here is March 5th. That's when the notice was posted. And here we go. We get a little bit more information in this. There's, scroll down. We get the HTS numbers, which I believe were supposed to be done within 10 days of the proclamation. So we have HTS numbers here, and it tells us as far as where in the subdivision of the applicable proclamation, where they're to be classified. Yeah. All right. So we got the HTS numbers, and they're also, here's K, right? For example, if you scroll down here, this is what we're looking for. Anything in K would be this HTS number, and here's the duty rate, right? So then we now I believe this is the same thing I just showed you, but I wanted to highlight here upon public notification. So here's that same verbiage. So it's saying effective with respect of goods entered for consumption or withdrawn from warehouse for consumption on or after 12:01 a.m. Eastern Daylight Time on March 12th, except subdivision K, which shall be effect upon public notification of the Secretary of Commerce. Right? So if we go into K, this is the items that are not in Chapter 76 of the Harmonized Tariff Schedule of the U.S. So this was, look at the time here. So this was filed 3/3 and then posted in the Federal Register on March 5th. And here's the docket number. Okay. So now we have here, this was real fun, everyone. March 11th, right? 4:45 p.m. Posted in the Federal Register on Friday. So if you are not here, right, this is what the public inspection looks like. Right? Public inspection. If you're not consistently refreshing this page, you would have no idea, especially if you are, I don't know about everyone else, but I'm subscribed where I get an email. I think it comes around at like midnight the night before. And I get all the alerts and a summary of everything that's posted in the Federal Register. So I wasn't hitting refresh. Shame on me. So I'm leaving work March 11th. I won't even say what time it was. Time I get home, my emails blowing up, right? So they just pretty much gave the trade 15-minute, I guess if you want to go by business hours, right? 15 minutes notice for the next day. And then this is where, here we go. Here's our guidance documents, right? And to be fair, CBP did provide guidance documents on, everything that wasn't in the special derivative list, and, things that were in the derivative list for steel products. Believe it was the Friday before, if I'm going off of memory. So here we go. Anyway, at 9:05, so 8:05 my time, we get an updated guidance document, right? I'm going to click on here. So if no one is, I know that you may have people in here that probably don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just kidding. Or whoever listens to this video afterwards, if you are not signed up to receive CSMS messages, it's pretty easy. You can go just right here, put in your email address, subscribe, and it does ask you what type of CSMS messages you want. So trade, certain trade alerts would be a good start here. And this is instructing us how fun 9903, 8508 has become. And these are the aluminum derivatives that are not in Chapter 76. So there's certain rules here that we need to figure out. And we've been figuring it out since what, Wednesday? So here we get some reporting instructions and we are to break out the aluminum content. So what does that mean? That means importers have two options here. Okay, we don't have to break this out. I just want to specify. If you want to pay duty less than 25% of your total entered value for your product or your item, you could just pay it, and we don't have to break this out, right? But if you would like to pay duty on the aluminum or steel content of your derivative article, right, you would need to provide your broker, your customs broker, what the total, content of your aluminum or steel product is. So that what does that mean? That's in a valuation terminology I'm using here. So let's say you have an item that's $5 and you only have, 10%, right? You would then, obviously do the math and the broker would break it out. So we need the value of the steel or aluminum content and also the weight of that, steel or aluminum content. So we have to break it out. If you do not know what that is, again, we don't need to break it out. You would just pay duty on the entire item. Okay. Additionally, before I go in the weeds of this, the broker, or if you're a self-filer, whoever's filing the entry will need to know so for steel products, what the country, what is it, pour and melt is, right? This could be different. And then also for aluminum derivative articles, you would need the country of smelt and the country of cast. Now, this is not necessarily something new in general when it comes for aluminum and steel products, but it is something new when it comes to a lot of these HTS numbers for the derivative articles. I've personally had a challenge with this, and I want to go to the chat as well, because I have some items that for example, HTS classification 8708 80 65 90. I believe I have this up here. I know it's probably really hard to see. Let me try to blow this up a little bit. Okay. So this is 8708 80 65 90. This is on the aluminum derivative list. It is not on the steel derivative list. And I have an entry that has no aluminum and just steel. Okay, so I have to, on behalf of the importer, I would need to declare, besides the value that I just briefly covered, I need to declare the country of smelt and the country of cast, in which is not applicable, right? Because it's iron, it's steel. So I could not get this entry through. I've got many different rejects. It complicates things a little bit more because it is a U.S. product. So I'm not declaring U.S. goods being returned. And so I have received two different types of rejects. One, because it was looking for the aluminum declaration, which is not applicable, and I don't want to make a false declaration. And two, it did not like the country that I was putting in. So what I was trying to do is saying, okay, if I'm not going to do the aluminum, I have the steel, declaration. I know what, I believe it was like Japan was the country of melt and pour. So I said, okay, I'll do the steel one, right? The steel declaration, and that rejected. And then because it did invalid declaration, I believe was the reject that I got. But I did not want to do a false declaration on aluminum because it's not applicable. Now, what I did do was I still reported the aluminum derivative HTS because I couldn't get that through, right? Couldn't get it through with, without the chapter 99. So 9903, 8508. And I put 0 for the value because there is no aluminum in there, and 0 for the weight. I think I tried 5 different things. And then finally I just emailed my ABI representative and said, hey, what should I do? And the instructions that I was given is if it did not contain, I believe if it didn't contain steel or aluminum, to not report the chapter 99. Well, it, did contain steel. So I went back and said, hey, this does, want me to put in steel. And I was told I'll get back to you on Monday, which is good. I'm glad my ABI rep is pretty quick, right? And was providing some guidance. So that's one challenge. I know I'm in the weeds with this. I'll go back, but I just want to let importers and everyone know that derivative products do require an additional declaration. And one thing else I want to add to this is, I don't know what the rest of the trade is doing, but a lot of these HTS numbers are not in 19 CFR as requiring a mill certificate. So I haven't been asking for that, but I have been asking, obviously, for the, country of melt or pour melt and cast and smelt. So there's that. So going back to this, as far as breaking these items out, I did the content. And there, it's both for steel and aluminum, but I'm just pulling up aluminum right now. So the instructions we got is if you do break it out and you want to report the entered value of the content, you have to report it on 2 lines. So right here it says the first line will represent the non-aluminum content, and the second line will represent the aluminum content. And each line should be reported in accordance with the below instructions, right? So we have here, okay, this would be the first entry summary line. I don't know how everyone else interpreted this, but I can tell you I was following this in order. Okay, so to me, the way I interpret this is, so let's say entry summary line 1, sequence 1, right, is chapter 1 through 97. And then you would put the, obviously the country of origin, the total enter value, because this is the non-aluminum. So obviously we need to pay the duties applicable at, the chapter 1 through 97 HTS rate. So it makes sense you would put the total enter value. And then here is where it's saying report all applicable duties. So you got, country of origin, China, right? So you got, 301, IEEPA, whatever else. I think those are the 2 actually. And then, obviously the section 232, but that's not here. But this is what it's telling me to do in my mind, is put this in order. Then the aluminum content. So this is just for the aluminum content. in the second line. So entry summary line 2, sequence 1, chapter 1 through 97. Same country of origin, 0 quantity, because you already reported that up here, right? And then it's looking for the value of the aluminum content. Report the section 232 duties based on the value of the aluminum content with HTS 9903 8508. So then again, it's looking for the value of the content and the actual net weight of the derivative content. And then report all applicable duties, such as i.e. EPA tariffs and anti-dumping and all that other stuff. So what stuck out to me too, why I thought one second, please. Sorry, my dog wanted to be let out of my room. Okay, so here it's saying report section 230 duties based on the value. Where was I going with this? I forgot my train of thought. I'm sorry, everyone. But I think this is the second instructions, because this is the updated guidance. And I'm pretty sure, and you all can tell me if I'm wrong, that it was looking for the value, like the first set instructions, the value to be reported on this line. Okay, and the reason why I bring this up, I think I have this here. So here's an example of a non-232, right? So we have the tariff, this is pulled from ACE, an ACE report. Tariff ordinal number, so these are the sequences, 1, 2, 3, right? There's no, so normally chapter 99 has no value that appears. So it's going to, these HTS lines are going to calculate. So let's say if this was not a 301 exemption or whatever, exclusion, right? Say if this was 99038803, right? That's 25%. Your ACE report would only have your line tariff duty here, but no value. This is an IEEPA tariff. It's no value, and this is an exemption, right? And then on line 3 or sequence 3, we have is where you report your tariff goods value amount, right? So that's just something I'm still looking for clarification on. I did reach out to the Trade Remedy Department within Customs. Yeah, right here, report the value. So that to me is like they want the value at the 99 number. So anyway, so that's one challenge that I was trying to work through. I don't know how everyone else interprets that. Another thing that I want to point out, and I did see some feedback within the trade community, is there are certain HTS numbers that are on both lists. So they're considered a derivative aluminum article, and they are also on the steel derivative article list. So you could essentially have 299 numbers. So I think it's like 9903, 85, let's say 08. And then you could have the one for the steel article. I think it's like it ends in 20 or something like that. I don't know offhand. So same concept. That's what I've a lot of people have been successful that I'm seeing in the trade community, that they're reporting both derivative HTS numbers, even if there is no value or no content. So I'm going to now just going to go check the chat and see what people are saying. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen for now. If there's anyone left in the chat. Oh. Okay, so overshot. That night was crazy to see. Yeah, I think you're referring to the 11th, March 11th. Yeah, that was not a fun night. The real dragon. This stuff is driving me nuts. Thanks for trying to get everyone on the same page. Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of questions, and I know that Customs is doing the best that they can, given, what, time that they were given, and they are trying to get information. It's really, really difficult when you have, trucks at the border and you're trying to successfully facilitate cargo, right? And remain compliant at the same time. This is just my opinion. There is not adequate systems in place because the guidance documents that were provided are not very thorough, in my opinion, especially when it comes to the HTS sequencing. Actually, I should reshare my screen, because previous guidance documents were sequential. So, chapter, number 1, chapter 98, number 2, chapter 99, number 3, that's where you go into trade remedies. So then it would go in order, okay, 301 first, IEEPA, section 232 or 201, followed by, you could have another one, section 201, 232 quota, if applicable. Then number 4 is the MTB. So any other replacement duty, I know MTB is not really in effect now, but, chapter 5 would be chapter 99 number for other quota, and 6 would be, so the last one on the list is chapter 1 297. Commodity tariff, you would put that last. And I know people are able to successfully get their entries through following the same order, but it's hard to get answers. And there's, especially when it comes to the additional declaration that's required, like the example that I have previously provided, you can have a harmonized tariff number that is on one list, but doesn't meet criteria of that list because does not contain, steel or aluminum, depending on what, product it is and which HTS it is. I don't see guidance documents that tell the importers what to do in that scenario. So that's been a challenge. And then from a programming perspective, the brokers we're all using different systems, which is fine. I mean, that's good. There's multiple different ABI service providers out there and different software solutions, and they, especially when it came to the derivative aluminum, I mean, that requires programming, right? And usually testing. So a lot of the brokers that I've seen, just in discussions, were, looking for their software providers to assist with instructions. Like, what order should we put this in? And this is not even talking about like have anything to do with like customs sequencing logic. Just you could put something in one way and it could be sent a different way, So, hey, what should we do? And then, the declarations, either steel or aluminum declarations, looking for instructions for that. And they're still programming, right? So that was a big challenge for many different filers, is software. So I can say, hey, I've been doing this since 1998 and been through a lot of different changes. Sorry, my dog's scratching at it. Now she wants back in. But anyway, a lot of different changes. I mean, from perforated 3461s and presenting manual documents. And I do know that customs has modernized. And they do work with the trade. And, there's the trade support network that anyone, you could try to join, right? And be part of those discussions when it comes from, from a programming perspective. Went through from ACS to ACE, and that was a lot of changes, and it's great. I'm glad that the majority of all the different partner government agencies are all synced into a single window. ACE reporting, I love it. I love ACE reporting. I would say there's only one thing I wish they could add is the ability to put in product numbers, and then I would be all set. I would never need to use another, an internal reporting. I'd rather look at master record, So there has been a lot of changes. We went through COVID, right? And the disaster of all the cargo sitting on the West Coast and all over the place, and been a lot of challenges and opportunities and everything, and that's what I really love about this industry is it's always evolving. There's always something to learn every day. I really like what I do. At the same time, though, it's getting exhausting. It really is. I don't know how everyone else is feeling, but I've seen, especially the brokers and trade compliance professionals that's been out there for a long time, and they're just on the border of retiring. I've seen many comments. I'm done. This is crazy. I think too, with the IEEPA and understanding that timeline as far as the exemptions and the difference between the 10% duty and the 20% duty, and trying to make sure we're managing our import dates. our IT dates, the export dates, making sure everything's going through accurately and timely and compliantly. And then finally, when I got a grasp on that, I was like, okay, let me look into the Section 232 because that's coming. And it's just like, it does feel like it's a moving target from my perspective. And it's just, it's tiring. It really is. And I just wish we had a little bit more time for the derivative articles. It's still a little bit muddy. But I feel optimistic that we'll get additional guidance. And I wanted to just start this dialogue with everyone, to just network and just have an avenue for everyone to support each other. Because at the end of the day, we all want to do the right thing. And so, if you're on the broker end, you want to provide value to your clients and be able to assist them with understanding all of this, while trying to balance, the compliance piece of things. So that's where I stand. I know I've been doing a lot of talking. I did put in a link in the beginning of this, when I started the live. If anyone wants to join, I would love to hear people from on the other end. So I'm a broker. So I would love to hear, the perspective from an importer's point of view. And, what are your challenges? I think it would be great. So anyway, there's a link up on top. Well, let me put it back in just in case. If anyone wants to join, no pressure. I mean, there's like 4 people in here, so don't be shy. I hope that went through. Or if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. Okay. What else can I talk about? Oh, let me see if I missed anything. All right, let's see. I didn't see any CSMS over the weekend, so I'm thinking ACE is in at least stable. Let me see. Did I miss anything on this deal? I know I talked a lot about aluminum. Maybe I can share that. See. Okay. Oh, now it looks good. It's a little bit different. I wonder what I was sharing this entire time. All right. So this is the CSMS 643844423. Um, okay, so this is two categories, right? So this 9903, 8192. This is if it was melted and poured in the US. And then this would be if it's not. So it's pretty much the same instructions as far as how to break out the lines. I don't see really anything different. Melt and pour. Okay, here's one. This, I haven't covered that. I'm glad I looked at this. So here it's saying for steel derivatives, importers must report the ISO code where the steel was originally melted, or OTH for other countries. I've had some people reach out and also seen it in various chats. Like other doesn't, if it's not an ISO code, that's where you put OTH based on these instructions. Like if I'm misinterpreting this, please feel free to correct me. I'm thinking some people are trying to use OTH to get around, let's say, the one scenario that I just had mentioned with, an HTS number that did not have any aluminum and only steel, to put OTH there. Another thing that I'm glad I'm looking at it again, the ABI rep, when I was having the difficult time getting my entry through because I had US as the country of origin and I think Japan as the country of melt and pour, stated that your country of melt and pour, or melt and what the other one is, like smelt and cast, right? That that ISO code has to match your country of origin, which does not seem right to me whatsoever. And because, your country of origin from the HTS perspective, that is, where, if there's a substantial transformation that had occurred, it doesn't mean it needs to be where it was, melted. So I'm not sure why I was told that, to tell you the truth. I don't know. Maybe there's a program. Maybe that's what the programming shows. I'll have to check out the supplemental guide, but that does not make, especially when you're talking about derivative products, right? It could have been, melted in one country, brought to another country, then, further worked depending on what you're bringing in, and became the final product in another country. You could have like 3 different countries here involved. So I don't know why you would need to match your country of origin at the entry summary line level to what you're reporting in the, in this example right here, what we're looking at for your steel declaration. That makes absolutely no sense. I'm not sure if anyone else received that type of feedback. Let me check the chat. You're welcome, Overshot. I'm gonna stop sharing. Anyone else get that feedback? Well, there's like 2 people in here, and I'm probably one of them. So whoever else is in here, can you don't have to, but. Well, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I've been talking now for almost an hour. The link is in here if the other person wants to join this conversation. If not, I think we'll just call it a night. I appreciate everyone from joining, and I hope everyone has a really good week and able to get your cargo moving timely. Thanks, everyone. Bye.